Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We are so pleased to have in the studio with us today Dr. Julie Hayden. She's the CEO of the East County Transitional Living Center. How you doing, Julie?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Well, we're thrilled to have you, and I'm honored to have as my guest co-host Jason Nitz. He is the Dean of School Culture for Cristo Rey San Diego High School, and Jason had a bunch of his students in here that were on the podcast and did a great job. And hopefully, Jason, you folks will adapt us as a podcast club.
That's the plan. Looking forward to it.
How long have you been at Cristo Rey?
I've been at Cristo Rey this is my 5th year. 6th year of the school, 5th year for me.
Yeah, it's a great. Are you familiar with the school at all?
No, and I'm super excited to hear about it.
Yeah, give it a little nickel tour if you don't mind of the Cristo Rey.
Yeah, so Cristo Rey San Diego High School. So we're in our 6th year. Our main focus is as a college preparatory school for low-income students. One thing that makes us unique is that we do a lot of experiential learning. So we have a program called Corporate Work Study. Corporate Work Study is designed where students have internships where they get paid to help offset their tuition. And they have various roles and jobs in the community. So it could be with law firms. It could be with podcast and media companies. It could be with, organizations like yours. Mm-hmm. And it's a way to just get them out in the community and get them learning and developing real life skills.
And that is amazing.
Well, and think about it. Here these kids, it's a 9 through 12 school, correct?
It's a 9 through 12 school, yep.
So they're, 14 years old, maybe not grade, something to that effect. And now you're in the world of work. So you've now been doing this, if you graduate, for 4 years. So you hit the ground running about what is expected in the workplace, whether it's at the center like yours or something else. Jason, you got a question out of the gate for Julie?
Yeah. So Julie, I'm curious. What is the mission of your organization?
Our mission statement is in Christ, transforming lives, restoring relationships, and healing communities. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. And we kind of see it going that way. You help that one person bring their family back together, and that's going to impact your community.
How long has the organization been in business?
We incorporated around 2015, and we were actually existing before then.
Right.
And so a little over 10 years as East County Transitional Living Center.
Right. And you've been there how long?
I've been there 2.5 years.
Now, where were you before?
I have several organizations still. So we have Genesis Recovery, a drug treatment center, Rhombus Counseling, Rhombus University, training mental health therapists. So all these organizations have been around a while now. They're kind of working together.
So obviously, unless you live in a different solar system, mental health is absolutely at just crisis proportions. Talk about that.
Yes, chronic mental health, I would say, is a big problem right now in San Diego, especially with the homeless. So, I think a lot of efforts have gone in to help homelessness, and yet it's increasing. And I think addiction and mental health is a big piece of that. And I think actually post-COVID, there's kind of a spike everywhere. So that's been a difficult aspect, especially for the homeless. Right.
And one of the things we've always talked about when we have groups like you or Years On or Father Joe's Villages is a frequent guest on the show, Deacon Jim, Vargas, who I was honored to work with when I was at the San Diego Union Tribune. Mental health issues didn't start at the pandemic. Those things have been going on, just exasperated it and so forth. And do you work with a certain age group? Is it 18 and above?
No, we have families. So we have 81 family rooms. It's like a motel converted that were homeless. And so we've got to have 150 kids on campus besides their parents. And then we also have a single side, so single men, single women. So 540 beds altogether, and that's a mixture of every age you can think of.
Right, exactly. I know one of the we talk about quite a bit on our Spotlight show is that the largest growing, sadly, part of the homeless population are seniors. Are you seeing that happen in your world as well?
We are, but for our particular organization, it's families.
Right.
Families, we have about 200 families on a wait list. And so I know the seniors has been increasing as well, but who's at our doorsteps trying to figure out what to do is actually families.
Right. So the requisite is they have to be homeless, correct? And how's that defined? That not necessarily living on the street, just not having a permanent home. Is that correct?
Correct. They use a phrase like, if you're living in an area not meant for somebody to live in, so in a car, on the streets, in other areas.
Or couch surfing or something like that.
Couch surfing, exactly. So it's not something that you could maintain.
Right, exactly. So in East County, is it more exasperated there than it is maybe in other parts of the county, or not necessarily?
I don't know the statistics, but definitely, being in the area for my entire life, East County is an area that's really struggling right now, as well as downtown San Diego. So those are kind of two hot spots that you could drive and see, okay, something's worse here. And actually, I think lots of effort has gone in to helping this situation. El Cajon in particular, there's been a lot of efforts, and we're sitting right there, and yet it is getting worse on the streets of El Cajon.
Yeah, well, we all know San Diego is not the cheapest place to live, to say and a lot of the things that, things we emphasize quite a bit, and, maybe I'm not sure, Jason, if your students talk about it. I know community service is really important to Cristo Rey students as well. But the face of the homeless is very different than it used to be. It's people that were living paycheck to paycheck just because it's expensive, and that paycheck's gone. And now you go, how are you homeless? Talk about that.
Well, I remember 2 weeks into being CEO at ECTLC, a lady came in with her kids in a car trying to get housing, and she worked for the school district. She had a great job. She lost her apartment, and she was living in her car with the kids. And so that is a whole new dynamic. All the rest are still there. And fentanyl, I would say, has increased the addiction side. But you have a lot of people that have good jobs doing the best they can that just can't get an apartment.
Right. So what other groups do you work with out in East County?
We work with anybody and everybody. So anybody in the homeless service provider network, we are sharing back and forth. If we don't have room, we're sending them somewhere and vice versa. So we have PATH is a outreach area, PATH and I forget, Homestart.
Yeah.
They're kind of outreach.
Right.
So a lot of times they have resources we don't, like get them into a hotel quick, get them, something quickly. And then we have more of the long-term solutions. And then San Diego Rescue Mission, actually Father Joe's, all the large organizations out there doing this work, we kind of go back and forth. We recently opened a drug treatment, Genesis Recovery, so we can get them stabilized, which is a big piece on addiction and mental health. And so there's a lot of sharing in that area too. Freedom Ranch is out in Campo, and Interface. And so we're all just kind of working together to try to get people that have their needs met.
Now we're chatting with Dr. Julie Hayden. She is the CEO of the East County Transitional Living Center. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. Listen to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight in the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast. We're in our 20th year. We shake our heads every once in a while when we think about that, for God's sake. Called Internet Radio when we started. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. For 6 decades, it's just been wonderful things in our community, whether it's the homeless, or whether it's financial, or food insecurity and financial insecurity. They're shoulder to shoulder. Joined by my guest co-host, Jason Nitz. He is the Dean of School Culture for Cristo Rey San Diego High School. I want to chat a little bit more about, Jason, what type of community service do your students do?
Yeah, so you mentioned Father Joe's. So we're actually partnered with Father Joe's. We also do a lot of community outreach as far as working with the migrant community, with different Catholic organizations. We are a Catholic school, so that's a natural fit for us to work with community outreach with different parishes. So that's a lot of the stuff that we do. We also do a lot of work with the border community. That's, a community that a lot of our students identify with. So yeah, those are some of the organizations we work with. A lot of our students work at senior living homes, which I think is an amazing experience. I always tell them that's a place where you can get some real wisdom.
Yes. I'm so glad you do that. Whether it's serving seniors or at St. Paul Senior Services, and we talk about this all the time when they're on the show, and I'm unabashed when I say it, we don't treat the seniors very well in our culture, where they do in other parts of the world, significantly on this. So that's great that you folks are doing that. You got another question for Dr. Hayden?
Yeah, so Dr. Hayden, you've mentioned it a little bit. I think I'm seeing what makes you guys unique and special, but I am curious, what makes you kind of different or more effective than other people trying to do the same things you're doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. We just got audited, and the San Diego Taxpayer Association was blown away, with our results. It's a community. So it's not a program. It's a community that people enter into. And while they're there, we go through stages where first they're just getting stabilized. They get all the resources they need. But as they get stable, kind of like your school, which I love, you're entering into work training. And the people that are at the front desk and security, they're all participants. So we save money on participants learning life skills while they're on campus, job skills. And then eventually we're helping them get a job. So it's a lot about being independent by the time they're out of our system. And our graduates do not go back into the homeless situation. They are stable for the rest of their lives. So it's exciting.
Well, and you mentioned it earlier, the fact that, you're not just treating a person or a family. It's everybody that's in that network and so forth, which is so critical now, are contributing. But you said there's a 200 family waiting list?
There is.
And is it just resources based? Just need more funding?
Funding and capacity. So if I had a magic wand, I'd have another motel. That's my favorite style, because dorm style is very hard with families. I've had a lot of families tell me they'd rather be homeless than have to share close by beds with other people. So the motel model has these small but independent rooms just for their family. And that goes a long way.
Right. Are there a lot of those that are up for sale or that are shutting down? And the answer is probably no.
If anybody has one, let me know. I have everybody out there watching and looking. So I figure they've got to be there, but so far they're not jumping out at me.
Right. When we come back from break, Julie, let's chat a little bit more about that, talk about some of the great success stories that you folks have had, some of the challenges, of course. And we always save time at the second half of the show to say, what can our listeners do to support your efforts? Donate money, volunteer, product, or whatever when you turn with Dr. Julie Hayden. She is the CEO of the East County Transitional Living Center. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, joined by my guest co-host, Jason Nitz. He is the Dean of School Culture for Cristo Rey San Diego High School, and we'll be right back after this short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year. So honored to have in the studio with us today Dr. Julie Hayden. She is the CEO of the East County Transitional Living Center, joined by my guest co-host Jason Nitz, Dean of School Culture for Cristo Rey San Diego High School. Jason?
Yeah, so Dr. Hayden, one thing that you mentioned that I thought was really special and cool was your emphasis on this being a community. So one question I did have for you, how important is community help during the holidays? What can a broader community do to support you?
It is my favorite time of the year to see what our community is capable of because it's a need, but also everyone goes way beyond anything we could dream. They bring gifts for the kids. That's a huge piece to be able to feel like they have a Christmas. People come and help decorate the campus. And so little things that we take for granted, even from Santa Claus and a Christmas tree, they haven't had. And so they get to participate in some of the things that make it special. And so we also do a lot of different meals. And so sometimes people will sponsor the Thanksgiving meal or come help serve. So there's lots of opportunities. We are always looking for the community to help us during wintertime with coats, blankets. And like I said, it's amazing to watch how many people come and just shower our families and our kids with gifts. It's great.
Well, and I think to the point is, we mention this all the time. We have our friends on from the food bank or Donnie D from the rescue mission. Homelessness or people down and out they don't know a date. I mean, it's certainly we have a lot of attention from about Thanksgiving through the first of the year, but March 15 is no different to some of these folks as April 8th and so forth in that area. So you got to sustaining it is something that is pretty critical, as you folks well know. Do you work with schools like Cristo Rey San Diego High School to get some of the kids involved?
We do. So we're in Cajon Valley School District, so they're very supportive. But just recently, Grossmont High is going to do an internship with us in the summer as an experiment. So they have a health path. And so usually it's for medical. So they'll go to the hospital for a couple of weeks. So they're going to do the mental health side and they're going to come with us and follow our counselors and our case managers. So I love that because the mental health field has a lack of workforce. And the county's actually putting a lot of money into, hey, go get a school for social work, for marriage and family therapists to kind of get us more. But that's a huge need. So to get high schoolers into that maybe have lived experiences, so they have some depth already as they start that piece of their next career, that's exciting. Well,
and I think when we've had some of your colleagues on and talked about the shortage of therapists, the numbers are daunting. Are they not like tens of thousands?
It's weird, actually, because I've been doing this for over 22 years. And so there's plenty of times where you have a saturation of therapists. So I need to hire people right now, and I can't. And I'll raise the income, the wage as best I can, try to have anything I can to attract people, and it's hard to find them. So that is a unique time frame right now that I've never seen in my career.
And is it hard to find them because you need a unique person to be in that position? They have to be empathetic. Obviously, they have to be very bright. They have to follow HIPAA laws and all that stuff. Does that make it tougher?
It does, but it's a shortage even without that. Right. But sure, once you get people in, they have to be tough. Somebody might yell and scream at them because they had a bad day and they can't take it personal. So it's a unique person to do well with this population.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Jason, you got another question for Dr. Hayden?
Yeah, so Dr. Hayden, when you think about your organization and all the beautiful stories that come out of it, could you just share one with us that really kind of like moves you?
Yeah, we don't always have a lot of the refugee population because it's such a huge need, so we can't take everybody. But we have a close organization at El Cajon we work with for desperate situations. And this family came, they did not speak English. They came as refugees from another country, and they had kids. And when they first started, they were scared to death. And we got them stabilized, emergency housing, took care of documentation stuff. And they were there. And by the end of the year, they both had driver's license. They both had jobs. Their kid had a job. They had a teenager. He got a job, and they, with their own money, because we have help. All the help out there will bring to them with their own money from those jobs. They got a 3-bedroom house.
Wow.
And they did a recording for us, with their story. And the dad looks so proud. And he just said, I'm where I want to be in life in a year. And he couldn't believe that was possible. So, and I remember him, every day walking on campus saying hi, and, just to think how well they're doing now and their kids. It's one of those things that makes you remember why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, the impact is huge. Besides, it gives you self-gratification. You've got somebody now that probably was suffering from a little bit of lack of confidence, I imagine, in this. And now, listen, if I can accomplish X, I can accomplish Y. And, I don't think we talk about that enough. These success stories build upon each other. Talk about that.
Well, I would say 80% of our staff are graduates. So that's a huge piece of this is people have done well. We had a graduate, 11 years ago that came back and is now on the board. He's a licensed contractor and now he's on our board. That's what it's all about, because really the message is, and I've done this a lot of years, so I know it's true. I don't care where somebody is, they can be successful. They can have their family back. They can do well. And they're going to actually have more depth to helping other people because they've been through that. So it's a huge piece of what we do.
You brought up something I think that is near and dear to my heart as well, and I guarantee it is to Jason because of the space that he's in. I was fortunate enough to spend quite a bit of time working in the schools, and then when I moved over to the newspaper, we still did a lot of work together. And Classroom of the Future Foundation is one of the organizations that I've been involved with for quite a while. But when you work with teachers, the really, really, really good ones, and there's a bazillion really, really, really good ones, their philosophy is exactly what you just said, is that any kid that walks through that door can learn. And if we give them the right tools and the right support. Jason, talk about how important that is, what you're doing at Cristo Rey, because this is a little bit of a tough population to work with,
Yeah, it's, I love our students. One thing that's always interesting to me when I talk to other people, I'm like, I work in a high school. They immediately kind of like put their own experience on it, or like I had a very different high school experience. I went to a really big high school, but so maybe people think like, there's going to be bullying, or there's going to be, cool, like kind of cool kids. But no, our students, like they work so hard. They're so sweet. But yeah, they have significant challenges, really significant challenges, transportation challenges, cost of living challenges, and then just normal challenges of being a kid, like making mistakes, right? Like that's what you're there to do in high school. So yeah, I mean, we go through a lot of these different challenges for sure.
Well, and I think that's what's great about the model you have, because all their students work, and they're at a job once a week. Is that correct?
Yep, once a week.
Right, and so forth. And I love the fact you're doing that internship program. David Miyashiro sits on our board, Classroom of the Future Foundation, and he's the superintendent of the Cajon Valley School District. And you talk about an innovator. My goodness, this guy's got like 4 billion ideas every time you spend 5 seconds talking to him, for goodness sake. And, it's great to watch him and that school district thrive in that area. What are some of the challenges? We talked about, obviously, San Diego is not a cheap place to live and all that aspect of it. But do you feel that people are more empathetic, less empathetic, or stable when it comes to your population?
As far as supporters, as far as supporters, I would say less empathetic, unfortunately. I think people are exhausted. They've poured a lot of resources and it doesn't seem to impact. And so I do think what we're doing is innovative and different, and I hope that it catches on, and we'll do some work to get our model out to others eventually. But, people want to see changes on the streets. They want to see people's lives doing better. So I think us getting the stories of the successes are important, because actually a lot of people are getting their lives back, but you might not see it when you're looking on the streets. So it's been difficult, but I have hope. I always have hope, so that's good.
Well, listen, and if you don't, you're in the wrong field, and you've been doing this for 20 plus years, obviously. You've got to be resilient, to say the least, in this, and as does your population. And, almost to what, Jason was talking about with his students, that the best learning is failing. I should know that because I fail a lot, on that. But I learn a lot from the failing on that. You got another question for Dr. Hayden?
Yeah. So your organization sounds amazing. First of all, hearing that retention rate as a dean of school culture, that's such a cool way to like measure culture that people are coming back. That like touches me. That's a huge indicator of success in my book. But one question I did have for you is, do you have anything coming up on the horizon that people can get involved with?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do an annual event called the Taste of TLC. And it's a guided tour event where we take people through our campus. And it's one thing to hear about what we do, but when you do the guided tour, it kind of comes alive. And you hear graduates and participants, and you kind of see in action what's going on. So that's December 8th, which is a Monday. And so it'll be kind of festive. It'll be food and drinks for Christmas. It's family friendly. And we'll be showing everybody, showcasing what we do.
Where's it going to be?
It's going to be on campus. So that's in El Cajon at the ECTLC main campus.
And where, do you have an address?
Yes, 1527 East Main Street.
Okay, that should be easy. Down there. So how many people are you expecting?
Last year, we had over 200.
Nice.
It was the first year we did it, and so many people came out. And I think they're curious, how are we getting the results we're getting? And so politicians to business owners, kind of could bring in anybody. And even like employers would have their staff go. So they can learn about what's going on with homelessness and kind of have that experience during Christmas time.
Right. What can our listeners do to support you?
Well, like you said, funding's always a big factor, especially end of year. We're trying to put a little bit, pay our bills, put a little bit for next year because January and February is one of the hardest times. And then also we do love volunteers. So the families, even if you're just a friend, there's actually a Be a Friend, nonprofit. But when you come and you just talk with families, that can go a long way. We always need, if you think of a motel, we always need comforters, sheets, towels, washcloths. There's toilet paper. There's things that it's just ongoing. So when our community comes and donates, that's one less thing we have to buy. And that goes pretty far as well. And just real quick, one last thing, hire our graduates. Come for a tour. Let me hear what you have to say and hear what I have to say. And I want to partner with businesses to hire our graduates.
No, that is so spot on. Now, on the website, is it those needs on it that, hey, can you donate towels and bedding and all that? Is it on the website?
I have no idea. I know we've talked about it, but I don't know if you're going to find it. I hope so.
It's so funny. You're not the Lone Ranger on this. When we have some of the groups on that, they can use things other than money and product and all that. I said, well, that's great because, listen, it doesn't make a difference what wage you make. Everyone's got extra towels. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got, and clean. We're not talking ripped and dirty and all that. Everyone's got extra socks or extra whatever the case may be. They'd love to donate it. And so I go, yeah, it's on the website, right? And they go, I think I'm going to have to check the website. So I bet the next time you come on the show that, now let me ask you this, not trying to break any laws, but we love to have people that have benefited from the services of the people that are, coming in, especially what you're doing at the East County Transitional Living Center. Would it be possible the next time you're on, bring in a family or two that's benefited?
Absolutely. We are pretty open about that as long as they feel comfortable.
Of course.
And I've got lots of families that are looking for, they ask, if I can ever talk to somebody. So yeah, we'll bring somebody for sure.
Consider it a done deal. Okay. Shoot me an email and then we'll send you some dates. We're just opening up 2026 right now. Dr. Julie Hayden, what an absolute pleasure chatting with you and wishing you nothing but great success. We're going to look forward to your return appearance.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by the fine folks of Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County. And to my guest co-host, I put him on the spot. Jason was just going to go ahead and just observe and what this is. And I go, yeah, how about if you co-host? And he, did you like it?
I love it.
You did a great job, by the way.
No, I love it. And I think what you do is amazing. I think, Julie, what you do is incredible. I'm having a lot of fun.
Good. And then we're going to have some of the kids, I think, at Cristo Rey actually do this as well. Julie, thanks again. Wishing you nothing but great success and look forward to your return appearance.
Thank you.
And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.